Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Hindi po ako sanay magsalita sa mga forum na ganito. Usually kasama ko mga artists na medyo long-haired at mas informal, but I have to follow the protocols of Congress. So my deep appreciation sa ginagawa niyo dito at pagtitiso niyo para ma-improve ang broadcasting sa future. No? I think just for a little background, para you will understand where I'm coming from. Ako po si Kidlat Tahimik. I'm an artist from Baguio. And greetings from Baguio. Medyo malamig-lamig dito. But I also happen to be a national artist. Last 2018, I received my medallion from the President at Malacanang. I have been a cultural advocate. Malakas ang aking pakiramdam and pananaw tungkol sa mga katutubong Pilipino, yung mga kultura nila. Pero even in general, pati hindi katutubo yung kultura natin na which is unique from other countries. No? So, let me first clarify. I'm not here. Hindi po ako narito para sa panig ng depensa ng ABS-CBN or for the prosecution ng ABS-CBN. Ako po ay somehow about 3 weeks ago I accidentally bumped into one of your hearings sa TV and I got interested at napansin ko na lahat ng pinag-uusapan ay mga PDRs, mga citizenship, mga dole. And tinanong ko sa sarili ko, bakit kaya walang cultural component na pinag-uusapan? At sa akin, bilang isang cultural worker, I think it's important na isama itong ingredient ng yung kultura ng Pilipino and the responsibilities of the broadcast industry to our culture. No? So, please don't look at me as being on either side. I think the experts will decide when you vote later. Pero para sa akin na maybe just, ewan ko kung tama ito, may expression friend of the court. And I will just like to state my views. And ang feeling ko that besides ang hearing nito is about yung mga naghahanap pa yun ng mga compliance or violations in the past by the network. I believe that this is also hearings not in aid of legislation for the future for better franchises in the future. If we're talking about this aid in legislation, then maybe may relevance o yung gusto kong sabihin ngayon. No? Siguro ang tanong ko is, dapat bang franchise renewal ay tinitimbang rin ang mga impact, ang cultural impact ng programming? No? I'm not calling, all my artist friends will say, baka, Kidlat Tahimik is calling for censorship or tighter chains on the kinds of programming. I'm talking, pinag-usapan ko lang ho dito ang balance, a call for balance, kasi commercial considerations ang pinakamalakas at nag-monopolize the choice ng programs. No? Let me give a little background as I see our industry, our broadcast industry. Alam mo nyo, I think there are 3 main broadcasting systems. Yung after World War II, when America was helping Europe regain after the war, they were offering Marshall Aid. Yung Marshall Aid was offering ways to help industry go back. And one of the offerings of the Marshall Plan was to help build a broadcast industry. Ngayon, this commercial broadcasting system was perfected and tried in America, no? Kasi wala silang gera, they were able to first create the technology, the television tube, then manufacture it, tapos nakalat sa mga millions of households, kaya naging very potent mass media ito, no? So this was the model that was being offered to the Europeans through the Marshall Plan. Pero, sabi muna ng mga, I think this is where may nagpreno, ang culture minister. Tayo wala tayong Ministry of Culture dito sa Pilipinas. And I think, sorry na lang, I would advocate for that. Pero, I think our country has copied the American model in general. So, kung walang culture of ministry, Ministry of Culture ang America or Department of Culture, gano'n rin tayo, no? So maybe in the absence of that, we have NCCA and other cultural, but it is different to have a culture ministry. Anyway, in relationship to this application, na baka maglagay sila ng commercial broadcasting, ang most of the ministers of culture say, teka muna, are we going to let Coca-Cola or Colgate or Ford Motors decide what images will be seen by our children, by our public? And they said, teka muna, we cannot leave it to them. So they opted for another kind. No? The other extreme of this commercial broadcasting system, where there's a lot of freedom, and meron mga broad limitations, which maybe like what the MTRCB has to warn people kung sumusobra sila. I remember I think when I was in college, I think we copied some of the censorship criteria ng American. Maybe some of you remember na dati kung one breast exposure pwede pa, pero kung 2 breast exposures, naku, bawal na yan. But these are kinds of censorships that are based on measurable things, no, mga technicalities. But anyway, yung censorship naman, the other model is the state-controlled television, as in the communist countries. And then talagang total censorship, and you don't have even a little iota of freedom to do what freedom. Now, between these two extremes, sabi ng mga ministers of culture, so muna, let's not give the power to the commercial sponsors, and let us not give it totally to the government, who can perpetuate itself in power. Nakahanap sila ng middle ground, and it's called the autonomous broadcasting system. The best example is BBC, no? And who's to say BBC is boring or shallow? BBC is a very good model. Pero ito, all the programming, the budgets for programming and for running they come from yung taxes on TV sets. Every time a receiver is sold, merong tax yun. And I think every year, pagka naka-register yung TV mo, as long as it's operating, you pay taxes. So ito, nagkakaroon ng budget to support autonomous programming. That is hindi beholden sa sponsors, sa commercial sponsors, hindi rin beholden sa gobyerno. But it has a mandate to give wholesome entertainment, to inform, and to enrich the culture of the people. I mentioned this lang kasi maybe now we can understand why we are having this hearing today, no? Na siguro, when commercial broadcasting has its own momentum, maybe there are questions of what is the impact of this kind of broadcasting on sa kapanan ng mga Pilipino, no? Okay, yung unang, just to get to where I am, no? Yung unang head ng BBC, and BBC nga was done on a non-commercial basis. Pero I think in the 1950s, nagkaroon na ng possibility na magkaroon ng commercial broadcasting, yung ITV yata yan. Anyway, he fought this kasi alam niya, malakas ang influensya ng the money that feeds you, no? It might be extreme, but anyway, his name was Lord John Reith, yung unang head ng BBC, and sabi niya, somebody introduced Christianity to England, and somebody introduced smallpox, bubonic plague, and the Black Death. Wala pang COVID noon, pero siguro dapat kasama yon. Need we be ashamed of the moral and cultural values or the intellectual and ethical objectives which are now at stake if we leave everything to sponsored broadcasting? In a way, I think he was explaining kung ano baka ang magiging problema when advertising revenue is the only criterion or the main criterion for what is televised. No? Okay, sa Pilipinas, I think we chose the American model, not only because we were colonized, but after the war, we were given independence on July 4, 1946, although we had gotten our independence before. Pero yung American model na yun, and I think it was the auto broadcasting system of Antonio Quirino, no? He's the brother of the former president. They started it and naging commercial ang basis ng broadcasting dito sa Pilipinas. Ito sinundan rin ni Uncle Bob. You all remember Uncle Bob Stewart sa Channel 7. Again, also that firmed up our situation as a commercial broadcasting system. Okay, if I can bring up the question, why is cultural relevance important? I'm not saying that all programs dapat may ballet dito at may concerto dyan at may Tivoli weaving. We're not talking about that. Pero let's face it, ad revenues create a certain direction in the kind of programming that is fed to our people. No? Kanina, I'm glad that kanina pinag-usapan niyo yung bias, no? And I think you're talking about bias in newscasting, and there's also, well, there are other kinds of biases that I might add here, no? Like for example, and I'm glad that yung nagsalita yung KBP kanina because now I know where to complain. I remember ho nung somewhat the late 1990s, there was a TV program, and I think it was Congressman Lucy Torres who was acting there, and then there was a line, no? Yung line. Maybe it was not her fault, but it was fed to her by the scriptwriter. Ang pangit-pangit mo! Siguro tatay mo, iguro! Ha 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 ha. Canned laughter, no? Mga ganon. These are supposed to be funny, but there are biases that are not even covered by the sponsors, no? This or another bias that we can talk about is like about 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I was so happy at last merong television series which was based on tribal people, katutubo, mga alamat nila nakapasok, they had enchanted snakes, and yung Amaya yata, yeah, it's Amaya. And I was congratulating, to myself, the GMA for, wow, most producers are too lazy to do period films na maghanap ka pa ng mga costumes, magre-research pa.
Mr. De Guia? Mr. De Guia?
Yes.
Thank you for the remarks. Meron lang ako gustong tanongin sa inyo. May I interrupt you, sir?
Yes.
Sir, I noticed that may sinabi ko kayo kanina that if advertising revenue becomes the only criteria for broadcasting, ay magkakaproblema po yung ating lipunan. Did you say that, sir?
Magkakaproblema ang ano?
Ang ating bansa, pagka advertising revenue na lang po ang naging basis ng desisyon ng broadcasting. You said this earlier, di ba ho? Did you not
Yes,
say?
I believe that the bias or the skew that comes from the preponderance ng advertising will change what our audiences will see and what they cannot see. There are many films or programs that cannot be shown because hindi, what's that word, patok sa takilya, or what I call psst, psst film, patok sa takilya, or patok sa advertisers. So there are many programs that will never see day of light because they do not fit the Nielsen ratings. Nielsen ratings is the way of how they choose the programs.
So, ito na lang po, no? Would you have any word to ABS-CBN? Kasi sila po ang dominant player sa industry. They're the most dominant players in the broadcasting industry. Would you have any word for them to at least wrap up your, ano ho sa amin, your message to us in the committee?
Okay. As I said, I'm not looking at this strictly as an ABS-CBN thing.
Or to the committee in general, sir. To the committee on franchises, kami ho nagbibigay ng prangkisa sa broadcasters. Maybe you can give us a word of advice to the franchise committee para ho maisaisip namin yung iyong mensahe tungkol sa kultura ng Pilipino.
Okay. One of the things that I also wanted to just mention here was yung sa lakas ng influence ng TV, and like it or not, a lot of children are exposed to that. A lot of homes, ang pinaka-babysitter ay ang TV, no? I'm sure there are a lot of enlightened parents who try to control that and engage. Pero, let me quote another, alam mo nyo, and I think this is relevant, no? Noong 1961, when the new administration of President Kennedy brought in a new FCC commissioner, no? I think the FCC is like our Department of Telecommunications. And he was going to change the whole thing. And he said, you know, out of 73 hours of evening prime time and there's 59 hours ng action, situation comedies, quiz shows, and movies. His question was, is there no room on primetime TV to enrich and uplift audiences, to enlarge the capacities of our children? Okay, I can leave that there, and whether it's a message for ABS-CBN or for GMA or TV5, it's up to them. But this is a big question. Kasi, okay, ang starting point ko dito is, and I think that's why you're having this committee meeting, is that broadcasting is a privilege, di ba? Given by the government. I think ang premise dito is because yung air, the atmosphere, is public property, and the signals can only reach the viewers by the networks using that. So itong responsibility, if the government is giving them with a franchise, they are parang naging trustees sila to a common good, no? And this is a concept of the networks that maybe sometimes is forgotten, na meron kayong malalim na responsibilidad which has to be followed. And in these hearings, okay, yeah, so yung question was, and I think this is what that's FCC head, Mr. Minok, said. He was talking to a broadcasters convention in Washington, D.C. At sabi niya, and this is an important point, the public is your beneficiary. If you want to stay as trustees of this responsibility, if you want to stay as trustees, you must deliver a decent return to your public, not only to your shareholders. And I think sometimes the competition between networks, nagiging obsessive sila sa Nielsen ratings nila, and because of this, mas nagiging importante yung patok that the show is going to keep grabbing the audience, and therefore the ratings will convince the advertisers to keep putting in the same company. So ang trend, The actual bias that we're talking about now is, the bias is only for trending. Di ba? I only found out the meaning of that word trending last week. Yung trending, I don't know. Pero dahil trending, dahil uso, yun ang magiging patok na magiging programa. And there will be many subjects that are neglected, that will not even have a chance to say. So, will it be any surprise if the preponderance ng mga lumalabas sa, whether it's in the movie houses or on television, is yung mga superheroes, di ba? I mean, somehow, yung kabataan natin are all interested in Spider-Man and Wonder Woman and Superman, pero wala na silang nalalaman tungkol sa kadakilaan ni Andres Bonifacio or yung katalinohan ni Emilio Jacinto. This is a bias that pushes them out. Maybe our advertisers are patriotic and nobody really thinks, I don't want to hear Bonifacio. No, maybe they just, teka muna, the cost revenue per peso I invest by showing instead the X-Men or any major hero will be better than if I show Marilu Diaz-Abaya's Rizal film. This is the kind of biases that I think are unseen, but if a real content analysis done of our shows will show. No? Okay, I want to come to a closing, and maybe I will try to. Napansin ko sa last 10 sessions niyo, you've been looking for violations, but if I look at my cultural criteria, and I want to bring it up, well, sabi ng KBP kanina, they can take complaints, but for example, if I would complain that Amaya was such a great adventure and to take a risk, no? But if I say, teka muna, but why is Amaya, who is the princess of that village or of that people, bakit siya yung, I don't know what's her name, Marian something, but she's the queen of skin whitening lotions, no? What is the subliminal message of that to all our kayumanggi Filipinas when they see that, wow, kailangan palagi yung pinakabida is somebody who is like them. Now, these are the kinds of things that maybe, can I come to somewhere where if I am talking to the committee in terms of future legislation, no? In aid of legislation, I think be aware of this strength of this bias, no? And how can we balance it? Can we have another agency that will try to say, teka muna, sobrang dito on this thing, or you have to bring in a cultural balance, whatever. Or another possibility is that maybe whatever you vote today, I know that the honorable congressmen and women are wanting to come to conclusion to this, no? But whatever you vote, I think I would like to throw a seed to be planted na I think we cannot go on like this forever. Di ba? COVID, everybody says after the post-COVID, we cannot go back to normal. We cannot go back to what it was before. And maybe it's a blessing that your hearings are during these COVID times, because meron tayong mahahanap na pwede pang improve yan, pwede pang pagbutihan para our television industry will be truly in the service of the Filipino and the Filipino culture. So, without throwing out any darts at any of the particular stations, let me just say that my appeal is we cannot take for granted the impact of television. The television set is not like a microwave or a mixer or a washing machine. It's a very proactive machine that, well, you can use some word like brainwash, or it cajoles us to be good consumers. It makes us believe in certain ideologies, but we must make sure that it is really in the service of the people. that it is in the service of our future generations. I want to close this little thing. Let me just give you a last minute. This is my bamboo camera. It's a symbol of, it's a metaphor for telling the local story, yung local POV. I think a lot of our programs are patterned after the programs na yung magpapatok which come from abroad. No? But unless we take and tell our storytelling with our cultural filters, I think we will just be copycat, if we just remain as copycats of foreign programming because kikita. Ang biktima dito is going to be the Filipino people. So, this is a fish trap. I made it into a camera. I think some of you saw me when I received my award from President Duterte. I had a selfie with this camera. But please remember this visual. It's a symbol of letting our networks serve the Filipino people in a much deeper way. Ito nga. I'm hoping one day, last night, one day, I can give an award to one network who probably has met the criteria of serving and having programming content that is really tumatama sa kaloob-looban ng Pilipino. So, maraming salamat po. Smile, you're on bamboo camera. Smile. Salamat po.
Thank you, Mr.